Hi everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph. I remember once here in Barcelona, I was walking down one of the main streets here, and I was walking past a shop, and this shop, it looked like a bookshop. It belonged to some religious group. Anyway, they offered me a free stress test. And I thought, oh well, why not? It's free and I'm a very relaxed gentleman. I don't really get very stressed. Well, not usually anyway. And they connected some device to my finger. It had a wire, and the wire connected to some kind of device which had a needle which moved, like a meter. And they said to me, okay, is your work stressful? I said no, and the meter stayed still. Then they said, are you here on holiday? And I said, no, I live here. And again, the meter didn't really move. And then they said, tell us about the relationship with your family. And this needle jumped to the other end of the scale. And they said, maybe there is some stress there. Anyway, they were trying to sell me expensive books, so I quickly made an excuse and left. Well, of course, being the very polite British man that I am, I felt obliged to buy one book, so I did. I didn't read it. I think it was called Dianetics. I didn't really understand a lot about it, but anyway, it was nice, except for the part about the aliens. Anyway, I tell you this because in exams, particularly the IELTS exams, they have a habit of asking you personal questions. For example, the oral part of the IELTS exam is split into 3 separate parts. The first part is general information. The second part you have a moment to prepare and then you have to talk for 2 minutes, and the third part is an expansion on the same subject. But one of the themes which comes up again and again in the IELTS exam is the theme of family. And I remember when I was preparing to do the IELTS exam so I could experience it, I was very nervous. I'm thinking, what if they ask me about my family? My family's all dead. I don't really have a hero figure in my family, and I don't really want to talk about them to a complete stranger. And so I knew that I didn't have any control over the exam subject. So the question is, how am I going to talk for 2 minutes about something that I'm really uncomfortable with? And how would that affect my performance in the exam? Anyway, it was very simple. I just pretended to be someone else for 2 minutes. I just created this fictional Uncle Jim, who was my hero since childhood. He didn't even exist, but it was less painful than talking about the reality of my family, who were dead now. I say this because I received an email last week from a Japanese gentleman. He said to me, Joseph, I would really like to be your student, but is there any way you can teach me without asking me personal information? I'm really bored talking to English teachers about if I have a dog, if I have brothers and sisters, and if I go to school here in Japan. Is there anything else that you could really ask me or talk to me about? And he has a very valid point. Teachers and examiners, we do tend to focus in rather a lot on personal information, and we give nothing in return, which is very sad. I don't usually ask personal information, but I just ask general information to get a feel for the person's life. But English lessons should certainly not be like interviews, and I think the IELTS exam, to use the theme of family, is almost certainly violent. But Well, these are the rules that we have to live by. I've noticed that Asian people and some other cultures outside of Western Europe also, they carry their feelings in a way that they can be hurt very easily. They can be vulnerable. For example, if you go to a IELTS exam and they ask you about your family and your family have recently died, it's a bit like punching you. You could end up very upset before the exam's even finished. So my advice to you is, when you go to the IELTS exam, close down your emotions. Be prepared to be someone else for a few moments if anything comes up which you really don't want to talk about. Because you don't want to go into an exam and then feel like someone's slapped you across the face with a wet fish, asking you about things that you would prefer not to talk about. And if you're in an English class, don't be afraid to say, thank you for your question, but I really don't like talking about my family. Perhaps we can choose a different topic. Yes, the English teacher may be devastated and offended, but in a very polite way, they should be able to move on very quickly. So getting back to the IELTS exam, you need to be prepared for eventualities and to be asked personal questions whether you like it or not. But to be an actor for a few minutes may help you. Okay, have a good day and thank you for watching this clip. Bye bye.